Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Ibnu here, and I'm going to read an information that I've got from the video previously. There are some information. They are first one, interpreter is not only people in soundproof but below the government, but is often in private closed door meetings. In the private closed door meetings, things are begin before anyone even arrived, such as the agendas are carefully negotiated and outlined. And then the position of the interpreter is they don't want to be the center of attention or appear in press photos. They prefer in the sideline so that can easily to be cropped. And then there are things that need to be decided before the meetings, such as will recording be permitted, is a record being kept, who's going to attend. There are two types of interpretation that are simultaneous and consecutive interpreting. Consecutive is the most common style in diplomatic situation. The next one is that in the consecutive interpretation, the interpreter wait until the speaker pauses the time. But when the speaker goes on and on without pauses, the interpreter rarely translate word for word. But when the speaker goes on and on for a long time, interpreters rely on note-taking. The next one, in note-taking, the interpreter represents the speaker's idea with a symbol of their own styles. Interpreters usually use the cheat sheets of the symbols that will the most useful. Next one, simultaneous interpreting usually used with earpieces and microphones, and the interpreter working on a soundproof boat. Next one, in simultaneous interpreting of Subjectt, they whispered to a single person in a close proximity to third parties. But whispering for a long time is bad for the vocal cords and hard to be heard due to the noisy of the room. The next one is that in simultaneous interpreting, they try to maintain an optimal distance from the original speaker, referred as ear voice spam or something like that. Even if the speaker is speaking at 100 until 110 words per minute, which research said is the optimal speed of interpreting, the interpreter still has to figure out the optimal ideas. But the problem is the further back in the diplomat speech is a lot to be kept. I'm sorry for that. In interpreter short-term memory. The next one is that to close to the original speaker's word, they may screw up things like grammar, syntax, and style, and it can cause fatigue and burnout for the speaker. This figure will hit at around 30 minutes of straight interpreting, and this is why source language often switch out in intervals of 30 minutes or less, because if they push to the limits they can really suffer. Well, the next one is that there is an accident in 2009 when the interpreter collapsed at the UN after SY for 75 minutes. in the interpreting, when the conversation gets emotional or the speaker becomes rude, interpreters are not meant to be mediator. If these things are happens, then we are supposed to interpret those things faithfully. So in this situation, interpreter would not say. The example of faithful interpreter is even though the speaker may become emotional, the interpreter is not going to parrot the behavior of the speaker. Then, when the situation becomes quite intense, maybe a joke would be helpful. Yes, you know, yeah, something like that would be helpful. But jokes are some of the most difficult things to interpret because they can get lost in translation easily. And for the last, guys, is that this job is so to juggle too many things that we have to do to be able to interpret well and accurately. But this job is important because it's what makes communication possible between people and their country. Well, I think enough for this video today. I'm sorry if any some mistake that I've made. And the last I say, 1,000 apologize and bye.